Right-hand corner of the map, Daybreak. We have our purple Zerg player from the team Karont3 Esports Club. It is Vortex. And his opponent in the lower left-hand corner, our yellow Terran player, winner of game number 1 in convincing fashion. It is CheckSix Boo.
And we'll see how he does. I mean, game 1 was kind of, we really couldn't tell a lot from that. Boo,
sure.
Obviously, better than someone who is not a pro gamer. But that doesn't really say a whole lot, I mean, it just says he's better than someone who's not a pro gamer, right? Vortex, though, is quite a talented Zerg.
That's
so
right.
We'll see if Boo can take him out. If he can, if Boo beats him convincingly, that's going to really be a notable thing for him.
That's right. It's going to be pretty difficult for Karont3 to overcome that. They've got a lot of talented players. We've seen some of the guys, I mean, especially Lucifron, as we mentioned before, has had a lot of success recently. But, Karont3, despite the fact that they only have a few official team members and they're using mercenaries to kind of fill out their team roster, still do have some very talented guys there. CheckSix, on the other hand, is pretty deep as well. They've got the guy who actually won our North American Regional, CheckSix Sleep.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest threat on that team.
Very much so, and they've also got players like Mystic, and this is Jimmy sitting around as well. So.
Yeah, sure. And don't forget, HD and Pain user.
That's right.
Who knows? We could see them play too.
That's definitely a possibility. Oh, looks like we're going to start with a double proxy racks for Boo. So this could be a very short game, depending on how well he's able to pull this off.
Interesting. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see, what this happens. This is the second game in a row now that Boo has done something a little bit cheesy here. So this is a good map for it. Obviously, if Zerg goes for hatch first, which they often do against Terran, why wouldn't you? If you don't really micro your drones correctly, you can end up in a big amount of trouble from this. So we'll have to kind of wait and see what happens.
And
That's actually proxied very far away.
Yes, it is.
That's in a position where you would expect to put some pressure on your opponent, but not a whole lot. You want to be able to, in this case, float those back to your main base, and it looks like that's what his plan is.
Right. Who knows? May come back to bite him a little bit as well. Seen some players Terran players that overcommit to this a little bit. Then it takes forever for them to restart their barracks pressure, or their barracks production, I should say, when they float it back home, and then it takes absolutely forever to get a sizable army out there. So, Boo going to try and put on some pressure now. Conveniently, a drone moving up to the front does catch 2 SCVs, so how exactly is Vortex going to react to this? Already preemptively pulling a lot of drones off the line.
Yeah, you usually want to pull quite a few. I mean, like 6 to 8 is the minimum with that. He's got plenty there. That's going to be 10 drones, making a spine crawler right away, and now searching for those barracks, searching for the units to make sure that he can get that surround on some of the early Marines, try to make sure that the bunkers don't finish.
Yep.
With that spine crawler getting that far already, he's actually in okay shape. Ooh, but can he not see that bunker?
Let me see.
I don't think he can see that bunker.
He
barely sees it. Okay.
And
in fact, I think that
Tenlings,
was the links and saw.
Yeah, Tenlings did just produce those, so it's still going to be difficult for Boo to get these up nonetheless. It looks like he's trying to duck his way back. Keep these SCVs alive as long as possible, but he's actually going to lose a fair number of Marines here. A few more trying to come up, cancels everything.
Yep, so it looks like Boo kind of scrapping the barracks aggression early on, and it didn't really gain him a whole lot, except for his economy kind of hurt a little bit here now. So he is going to fly those barracks back to his main base, and we'll have to see how our Zerg player, Vortex, wants to respond to this. I mean, some Zerg players choose to become very, very aggressive because they know their opponent's going to be a little bit weak. Some decide to just kind of take a quick third after this, kind of know that they can afford to be a little bit more economically aggressive rather than, all-out aggressive with units. So Vortex is in a pretty good spot right now. He's got a good sort of library of choices to choose from.
That's right, and his opponent's expansion is still so far off that he'll be able to reutilize these 2 bases, especially with the Queens out now, and get his economy up and going. He's already on 21 workers, continuing to add on 9 more at a time right now. So we'll see. Are these barracks going to start floating back? No, Boo just making as many Marines as possible out of the middle of the map for now.
Yeah, I guess so. He may decide to do a little bit of a push. Excuse me. And I mean, his barracks haven't been discovered yet anyway, so it's not like he's in real dire need.
They were actually.
Flight back. Oh, they were?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they were. Okay.
Yeah, a couple of Zerglings ran around the side there and almost got torn up. But with that being said, it's still going to be interesting to see how both these players react from here on out. Vortex actually adding on 2 gas now, 1 in his natural, 1 in his main, and we'll see what sort of tech he wants to move into in a bit, as he is going to be on 40 workers here very soon, so certainly reacting to that pressure very well.
Yep, absolutely. Oh, 2 factories going down for Boo. That's cool. Interesting. A switch into mech from him. So That'll be really, really fascinating, actually. He could just decide to go for Blue Flame Hellion really quick, green Hellion, but I've got a feeling this is going to be the start of a mech transition for a Terran player. It's a pretty good map for it, honestly. I mean, you can take your third fairly easily with mech on this map, and if you play a passive game and then move out with that big maxed 3-3, 200-200 mecha deathball army, you can usually do pretty well. It's going to come down a lot to his Hellion control if he does decide to go for a mech. He needs to do damage and be aggressive with his Hellions, but at the same time, not lose a whole lot.
This is kind of a
short game.
Yeah, this is a weird way to go about this. He's going to do this very high economy. He's got 40 drones on the field right now, but he's going over to layer tech. He's got that Baneling Nest and that Roach Warren coming up, and a lot of lings have already been started. A couple more Overlords now to free up a bit of supply, and he does have a fair number of larvae on the ground as well, so he should be able to produce a lot of roaches if he decides to go down that path.
Yep, taking a third base too. I mean, so with all this, it looks like he wants to just try to put some pressure on and kind of extend that lead that he has, but not quite go completely all in with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can see that third base is about a quarter of the way finished, but Vortex, he's able to get behind a couple of these Hellions, forcing them out of the way. Oh, but they get a pretty good shot there, and he does use Zerglings from there on out. Able to hold those up long enough, though, to get the decent attack of Zerglings away. Zerglings just about to finish. He is now up to full 53 workers when those do end up, so decided to get that Baneling Nest produce a lot of lings, but didn't really put on any pressure right at the beginning of the game.
Now, did Boo cancel that second factory?
Let me see. No, they're both up.
Okay. Oh, interesting. So not using add-ons on either of those, just making two at once. Okay, and they're the two tech labs. So basically his plan is going to be to get to where a lot of Terrans prefer to be in ZVT, just in a little bit different way. He's going to go for two factories very quickly to try to get his siege tank up very quickly, and then be able to make some of those more common unit compositions, common timing pushes, and so a bizarre opening that means a fairly normal mid to late game.
Yeah, and Vortex, on the other hand, is pretty solidly on three bases. Has those defensive roaches up as well, and is now going over to pretty predictable Zergling, Baneling, and Muta, as we do see the Spires being added in right now. Economy does look very, very good for Vortex as well, so he's done a nice job of prepping for this eventual attack.
Oh, and here come the roaches. They're going to be able to chase those Hellions away, no problem. Good positioning on those roaches, too, not letting any of the Hellions actually escape from there.
And looks like gas number 5 and 6 just about to be added. Already a fair bit of gas is saved up, though. Vortex is going to be able to produce by the time the Spire's done a full 7 or 8 Muta's right away, so he's certainly got a lot of options at his disposal, and his worker count just continues to go up.
Yep, that's a good position to be in, too. You know, when you know that you've got enough to get all those mutas, but you've also got enough to react to any sort of pressure your opponent throws at you. As you can see here, making some Banelings, getting that 1-1, and making Zerglings as well. So, you know, whereas he might have wanted to make units, now he can make units to hopefully keep this hatchery alive. But will he? It's going to be tough.
I don't know. That is a lot of bio units there and a fair bit of firepower. Oh, but Baneling's hitting a couple of units there. A few more trying to make their way down the ramp. The Marauder's doing a pretty decent job of kiting and absorbing a lot of the shots. We'll see if this is enough left over, though, to take out the hatchery. Doesn't look like it is, and Vortex is going to chase off Boo here.
Yep, looks like Vortex is going to be able to push back Boo just a little bit here. He's starting to run a little bit lower on units, but shouldn't be a problem. Oh, Tech Lab even made, oh wow, he even made add-ons with those barracks?
That's right, yeah.
Wow, that is odd to see. Normally you'd want to put those back home or something like that, because now, I mean, that's a lot of time lost and a little bit of resources rather lost on top of that.
That's right. A couple of tanks queued up in each of these factories as well, finally adding on a starport to help them use a little of those resources. But if we can see, the Mutas are starting to make their way out now. There's not a lot of anti-air out there, just 3 Marines and no missile turrets.
Interesting. And how many Mutas are there total?
There are now 9 Mutas.
9, okay. So that's plenty to go ahead and kill workers very, very quickly. Or kill tanks, too. I mean, you've got a lot of options when you're a Zerg player at this point in the game. Things have kind of gone how they've gone.
Yeah, so Boo, unfortunately, going to lose a ton of workers here, already running away with whatever he can and reinforcing with submarines, but they're very, very low. And the starport's just now finishing, so there's no medevacs overhead to help heal those up.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, just everything that Boo wants to have, he just doesn't quite have enough of. He's got plenty of tanks, but he's kind of lacking in the other regards. So I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Vortex go a little bit heavier on Muta this game, just because he knows that the anti-air is going to be less, and with the greater siege tank numbers, it's going to be hard to keep them safe, just like that.
Oh, no.
At least 2 tanks here.
That's right.
Maybe even all 3.
It looks like he is going to. Wow, that's a huge loss, unfortunately, for Boo. Vortex also doing a very nice job with the creep shred through the middle of the map, so making sure that he was going to have the best possible attack paths later on in this game. The Infestation Pit has already finished up, Pathogen Glands all the way, and Hive started at about the same time, so we will be able to move into those Broodlords and such very quickly. Could also go for Ultralisk if you want, as well as upgrades are certainly coming along.
Yeah, for sure. And he's got a decent amount of map control. He's got decent creep spread, so Ultras would do okay. He's got the Hive on the way, continuing to make Mutalisks, though, and I think that it probably will be Broodlords in this case. They're so good on this map if you position them well. And that it seems like the next logical choice.
And it looks like Vortex did just finish up his 4th base as well. His opponent does have 3 command centers, yes, but that worker count is still so low right now. Boo just trying to get out there with his forces at the moment, but big round of Banelings, and most of that might die because a lot of the tanks had gone down. There are still 4 remaining now with this force, but just kind of a weird unit composition, or at least just the distribution, I suppose, between the units at this stage of the game.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, look at the worker, or not the worker count, the supply count overall, 172 to 105. Yeah, Zerg is generally going to be ahead in supply at this point, but not this much. This is like a little bit too much. This is worrisome amounts.
Yeah.
And 4 bases for a Zerg player, just 2 right now. And yeah, Boo's going to try to Magic Box. I don't know if this was the best answer, but he will kill a lot of stuff. And here comes the rest of the units to clean the rest of things up.
That's right. He just had so much stuff, it didn't matter.
That's about it.
Could throw as much of it away as he wanted to, and it looks like Boo, unfortunately, is going to be killed by this. There it is, GG. And game number 2 does go to Karont3 Esports Club, so they're going to tie it up 1-1.